days. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN
radio station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya! D-Mac! Hold on, Matt Ryan! D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown! How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
So it's Friday. That makes it a football Friday all across the state of Arkansas, and getting set for Arkansas, Kentucky. Two teams coming off a bye week. Two teams looking for their first conference win of the 2019 season. One coach that's looking to try to continue the momentum from a 10-win season and the most successful year in Kentucky history since the year I was born, I think, 1977. And obviously Mark Stoops, the reigning SEC Coach of the Year, and Chad Morris, who is still trying to get that elusive first conference win. Kickoff tomorrow, 6:30, Kroger Field. Make sure you bring your paper sacks because we shouldn't be doing the plastic bags any longer. 7-point spread, Kentucky favored. And we'll be talking about all throughout the show today here on Halftime. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson in the ESPN Arkansas studios. What do you think the score is going to be? That's something that Ty and me will let you know what we think in, let's call it about an hour and 40 minutes, hour and 45 minutes or so. We want to know what you think the score will be. And you can let us know on the Cherokee Casino hotline all throughout the show today, 877-377-6963. So, Ty, I did stay up, watch baseball again last night. I did close out a little bit with the Patriots win over the Giants. Garrett Cole having one of the most dominant stretches of recent memory of any pitcher, really, in the last 40 or 50 years. I know I had baseball on. It looked like you were watching some TV shows once again.
Yeah, I did not turn it on. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm disappointing you every time we come on this program.
You are. I'll just be honest. You're completely disappointing me. You're crushing me. I'm not expecting to turn you into a baseball guy, but I do. You missed watching utter dominance. Garrett Cole is amazing. He's like the equivalent of a Trevor Lawrence from the freshman season. Not the Trevor Lawrence you're seeing right now. That was more of the Garrett Cole with the Pirates, but just as dominant as I've ever seen a pitcher before.
And, I mean, they have Greinke, him, and Verlander for the Astros. I mean, that is a starting rotation that general managers, fan bases dream of, Phil. Like,
that's right.
When you look back in the MLB, just not only in your time that you've been alive, but overall, what are some of the best rotations, like best overall? I know the Yankees had some good ones, but think about starting pitchers like 1, 2, 3. Where does that rank amongst some of the MLB best?
Well, I mean, it'd be tough to beat what the Braves trotted out there for all those years with Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. I mean, that's 3 Hall of Famers right there. With the Astros right now, you got at least one surefire Hall of Famer in Justin Verlander. Greinke is good, bordering on great at times, not Hall of Fame quality. And Garrett Cole, the jury's out because his career is really just starting to round into form.
After
I haven't seen
a
staff like
that.
Yeah, no kidding, man, no kidding. And if I'm thinking like recent history, I can't think of any team that's had a starting rotation like the Astros put together. So it's Astros, Yankees, American League, and that starts tomorrow. Nationals, Cardinals start tonight, 7:00 at Busch Stadium. It's on TBS. There is a college football game later on tonight as well, and that ranks that pits 20th ranked Virginia at Miami. Oregon and Colorado also matching up, so you do get some other things that you can watch aside from the Horsehide flipping around today. So, all right, 6:30 kick tomorrow, airtime for Arkansas game day, 1:30 here on your ESPN Arkansas affiliates. And it feels, Ty, like this potentially is the best shot left at a conference win. Either this game, Kentucky, or 4 weeks from now against Mississippi State. I mean, if you thought you had a shot against Auburn next week, I saw something like Auburn is undefeated after a bye week in Gus Malzahn's tenure there. So even though it's in Fayetteville,
Yikes.
even though Saturday down south picked that as a stumble game for Auburn, I don't think that's going to happen. This is your best chance left other than Mississippi State. The trouble that I'm thinking about this game, Ty, it might not even have all that much to do with this year's Kentucky team. Of course, you really can only line up against who you are lined up against this year. But in Mark Stoops' tenure, and maybe this is simplistic because a lot of teams play much better at home, but for Kentucky, they're a lot better at home under Stoops than they've been on the road. And that's played itself out this year, too, where potentially their best played game was the one that they choked against Florida. Should have won that game, but lost 29-21. The last two games have been on the road, and the Wildcats just stunk out the joint, getting outscored 52-20 by a couple of mediocre teams in Mississippi State and South Carolina. And they're more than anything, they are less than mediocre at quarterback. Because, and I know Mark Stoops has played it very close to the vest, nobody knows who's going to line up at quarterback for the first snap, and chances are they've got more than one quarterback that's going to play, including wide receiver Lynn Bowden, who'll get some snaps. But that's one area where Arkansas has got the edge because, quite honestly, Kentucky's quarterbacking play of late has stunk.
Yeah, it hadn't been good. I mean, you think about Lynn Bowden, who came in as an athlete, played quarterback in high school, and a stud, a do-it-all guy. Clay brought up a great stat in the morning rush. He has 30-plus catches on the season. No one on the Wildcats roster has more than 12. Punt returns, kick returns. This guy does it all. So if he moves to the quarterback position, you would think that he would be moved out of those extracurricular stuff. And I'm talking about the special teams, punt returner, kick returner, and they don't have a guy to his caliber there. So it's going to be very interesting. It's been a good bit of gamemanship so far by Mark Stoops, Phil, because if I were him, he's doing the exact same thing I would do. Why show your hand to Chad Morris and John Chavis before the game? Why announce a starting quarterback? Now, you may know that internally. The team may know that. But why allow why allow Arkansas to get a solid game plan of who they're going to play and who they're going to scheme against?
I think Stoops even said either in his radio show or in the SEC teleconference Wednesday that he wasn't even going to address it anymore.
Yeah.
Don't ask the question because you're not going to get an answer.
And, I mean, think about I brought this up after the Texas A&M game. A&M didn't game plan for Ben Hicks. That was Starkel. Now, they couldn't have anticipated Starkel going out and Hicks having to come in, but I think I'm not going to give all the success to the fact that they didn't necessarily game plan and scheme for Ben Hicks, but I think part of the success he was able to have, not last Saturday, but the previous Saturday, Phil, is the fact they weren't ready for him. And so Arkansas is now having a game plan for Lynn Bowden, Sawyer Smith, and potentially Walker Wood. That's three guys. Now, you might focus on a lot more of your time on one, whether it's Bowden or Smith, because Walker Wood is really probably likely not going to play. But that at least takes time out of your day, out of practice week that you might have been using to game plan for one specific guy.
Now, I mean, if you're planning for Walker Wood, you're planning for somebody who hasn't played at all this year. So, I mean, you're talking about somebody who's ice cold coming off the bench, who might know the offense, but hasn't been good enough to step on the field yet. If you're talking about Bowden, or is it Bowden? I keep calling him Bowden.
So we initially called him Bowden, and then Jack Pilgrim for Kentucky Sports Radio came on the morning rush and called him Bowden. So I'm just going to go by the guy.
We'll go with the KSR guy. So if you go with Lynn Bowden, you'll go with somebody who was a high school quarterback, so he can throw the ball, but that's not SEC football. And you're dealing with somebody that's thrown 4 passes all season and probably is going to run a lot more than he throws. And to be honest, with Arkansas's issues tackling, even if it's a running quarterback and you know that he's running, you could have an issue there. If you're planning for Sawyer Smith, you're planning for a transfer from Troy, who has been, he has been one of the worst quarterbacks in FBS football since he stepped in for injured Terry Wilson that game the second week of the season.
Also,
he's completed. He's dealing with 3 different injuries, so there's that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's completed less than 50% of his passes, has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns, 5-4, and the quarterback position is going to be a real issue for Kentucky. And of course, who touches the ball more than anybody else? It is the quarterback. Halftime is brought to you by our friends at Breeden RV in Van Buren. They are having their year-end clearance sale right now, and you'll find great deals on new RVs, travel trailers that start at $99.95, and fifth wheels that are under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives new customers maintenance for life for free. Plus a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren. You can go to BreedenRVs.com for more information. Got a good show today. Our friend Aaron Torres joins us in about 20 minutes. We're talking Arkansas football throughout the show, plus some Major League playoffs here on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
It's just amazing that when Eric Musselman is in front of the media or in front of the fans, and now we got to see what he's like, see him in that coach's role, to see how vocal he was, to see how detail-oriented he seemed to be with just the small things, like, for instance, calling a timeout because his team wasn't lined up correctly on the free throw line. I mean, that's the type of thing that you like to see if you're a Razorback basketball fan.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Are your real estate investments being properly managed? Are you sending a check or cashing a check each month? If you're tired of your current property managers, then call Trinity Multifamily. Trinity will qualify your tenants and leases, inspect your properties, and take care of maintenance and provide you with web-based access to current financial reports, leases, and pictures of your property. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at TrinityMultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
Dee's Family Restaurant of Alma at 39 Column Lane across from the water park is now open on Sundays. Breakfast is served all day, and our hot buffet is served from 11 to 8, 7 days a week. Our breakfast buffet is now served from 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every day. All-you-can-eat steak Thursday night, cooked order prime rib Friday night, and a seafood buffet on Saturday night. We have a party room that'll seat 50 and plenty of parking. Call ahead, 632-1014.
Have you been thinking about new windows or vinyl siding for your home? Then think Superior Siding and Windows. Superior Siding and Windows has been offering low-maintenance, energy-efficient products in the River Valley for over 40 years. Superior Siding and Windows also specializes in sunrooms, patio covers for carports, and much more. Call 646-7888 for a free in-home estimate. Superior Siding and Windows, 646-7888. Superior Siding and Windows. Look for us in the Yellow Pages and like us on Facebook.
Make-A-Wake Boat Sales and Service is not only where you can get your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat, they also carry a huge selection of bait and tackle. Find whatever floats your boat at Make-A-Wake Bait and Tackle. They carry tons of top brand lines of rods and reels and everything you need to gear up your tackle box, from Strike King, Kitech, and Zoom to Sunline and War Eagle products. Make finding your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat an easy catch with Make-A-Wake Boat Sales and Service in Van Buren, 4806 Alma Highway in Van Buren, and MakeAwakeBoats.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
60 is not that old, but when you're talking about a business, 60 proves you have the ability to keep your customers happy and change with the times. Guardtronic is celebrating their 60th year in business. Founded in 1959, Guardtronic has been securing homes all over the area for 60 years. Give them a call anytime. There's always someone there to get a free quote for securing your home. 785-2323 or guardtronic.com. Happy birthday, Guardtronic. License E050.
Thank goodness that the fall season is upon us. And with this special time of year comes football, cooler weather, changing leaves, and free internet and phone service from Pinnacle Telecom. That's right. Switch your phone and internet service over to Pinnacle Telecom and get your first month free. Take advantage of Pinnacle Telecom's fast fiber internet and or hosted telephone service, and your first month's bill is on us. So let Pinnacle Telecom make your fall even better with this one-of-a-kind first month free promotion. Pinnacle Telecom, tomorrow's technology today.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts, we're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Here's Jones on a keeper. Out over the 40 to midfield. Matt Jones may take it to the house. And the dunk.
Get those texts and calls in on the Cherokee Casino hotline, 877-377-6963. Thoughts about Arkansas, Kentucky? What do you think the score will be? We got a couple of listeners here, Ty, that are thinking, well, one of them is thinking positive thoughts about Arkansas, and that's Jeff from Greenwood. He says this thing's got to turn around sometime, really hoping it starts today, 27-14 Arkansas, and he drops a Go Cardinals on me, too.
To me,
yeah, it's okay. I mean, root for who's left out there. I know who I'll be pulling for, and it's the Nationals, and I got my reasons for that. I guess I'll get into that in an hour or so. For me, I really think Jeff is being more hopeful than anything else. The thought that this thing has to turn around sometime. Really? Does it have to, or do you just want it to? I think everybody wants it to.
I think it's the latter for sure.
Exactly. Aaron in Clarksville says 38-20 Arkansas. Everything will click for Arkansas for their first SEC win. And then he drops in the thought that a 360-pound defensive line means it's hard to move but fairly slow. So he wants to keep Cash Daniel blocked, run outside to open up the pass game, put the hog hoof on the throat early. This is not a team that knows how to put the hog hoof on the proverbial neck and step down, even though that is my least favorite sports analogy available. By the way, Kentucky has allowed 30 points in a game never this year. The most they've given up is 29 to Florida. So I honestly don't see Arkansas eclipsing 30 points against a defense that hasn't allowed it yet. But then again, I didn't think Arkansas would score 27 against Texas A&M. Or did I? What did I think I picked them to lose 35-31. But they did score the most points against Texas A&M that the Aggies had allowed outside of their loss to Auburn. So I just don't see it happening on the road in a building where the home team has played fairly well this year and historically plays their best. So, and Dennis in Springdale, I think, is being a little more realistic about it, predicting 24-20 Kentucky. And he's going because of Kentucky's defensive line. I mean, I know they got a couple of guys that are like pushing 400 pounds, Ty. And so, yes, that does mean they might be a little slow. But for the Razorbacks, who have had troubles establishing a consistent rush this year, and you still don't know if Ty Clary is going to be fully healthy, if Colton Jackson is even going to be able to play. So I think the thoughts of being able to run against this Kentucky defense might be a little fanciful.
I think it is, especially with the statistics that you mentioned. I mean, no Josh Allen for this defense last year, one of the best defensive linemen in college football in 2018. But they still have some dupes, and that comes with the fact that Mark Stoops has been able, he's been given the time to set up in Lexington a little bit, and with time comes the idea of you getting your players in, not only in a full recruiting cycle, but he's been in there quite some time. So he's had multiple seasons to get the guys he wants, gets the trench play that he wants. And again, it's not Alabama, it's not LSU, it's not Georgia. You're not going to get 4 and 5 stars to play for you every single down at Lexington, but you'll get the guys you want, the mentality you want, and over time you can build up something. That's why they won 10 games for the first time since the 70s last year, Phil, because he was able to do that. He's a good coach. He's not a great coach. He's not a Saban. He's not a Meyer. He's not a Dabo. He's not one of those guys, but he's shown the ability over time that he's been able to build a decent program. And it helps the fact that all the attention, Phil, as you know, is on the basketball program. So he can kind of do his own thing without a ton of people, a ton of boosters, a ton of fans getting onto him, being distracted by that. He can focus on that without the necessary outside people coming at him. It's not as big for him if it was, per se, Kentucky basketball. Cal's got a lot more pressure on him for the basketball program than Stoops does for the football program.
You know, they're having their, is it a Midnight Madness for Kentucky basketball? Blue-white game?
Yeah, I hope it.
I know they're having that tonight. I saw where our friend Tom Hart is on the call for that on whatever platform ESPN is putting it on, and then he's got the call for the SEC Network telecast the next day. By the way, speaking of, he's always busy. By the way, speaking about maybe the ability to run against Kentucky, potentially we're wrong. I mean, they might have this big defensive line, but South Carolina and Mississippi State, the last two games, Ty, combined for 534 rushing yards against that Kentucky defense. And that's on 86 carries. So they averaged 6.2 yards per carry against them. And, South Carolina did not have success passing the ball. Neither did Mississippi State, 140 yards passing for the Gamecocks, 180 yards for Mississippi State. So the Bulldogs and the Gamecocks won those games by establishing the run and also getting some pretty long drives going here. I mean, Mississippi State had a couple of drives in the second quarter 3 weeks ago, 9 plays, 75 yards, 4 minutes, 25 seconds, 10 plays, 80 yards, 5:51 with Kylan Hill doing pretty much all of the heavy lifting. South Carolina, they had a couple of really long drives early in the ball game. 11 plays, 75 yards on their opening drive to take a 7-0 lead. 10 plays, 62 yards early in the second quarter. So, I mean, both Carolina and Mississippi State established the run early and continued to run the ball, and they took the early lead, and they basically just ran it the rest of the way.
I think partially that's due to the fact that they weren't in Lexington. They were on the road in both Columbia and Starkville in those games. This team has shown the ability this year, like so many other teams in college football, that there is a major difference from when they play at home and then going on the road. Not only, and I think a lot of times you hear this vernacular and this phrase from especially basketball coaches, defense always travels. Now, sometimes you're just not having your night when you hit your shots, but defense always travels. Well, in those two games, the ability of the defense was shown that it did not travel to Columbia or Starkville. So I'm wondering if it gets kind of rolling after a bye week. I'm just curious overall, Phil, what type of game are we going to have? Is it going to be high scoring? Is it going to be a defensive juggernaut back and forth like a 17-21 type football game? It's going to be very interesting to see the outcome. I know the line has been pushed up. Kentucky's favored by 7. I think the over-under, I'll look that up real quick.
Got it at 53.5.
53.5. Okay, so that's what?
That sounds about right.
26.5 each?
I think this game stays in the 20s.
You think so?
I do. I don't think Kentucky, their offense is no great shakes. It would have been a lot better with Terry Wilson. Arkansas, and this is an issue for the Razorbacks that we got into yesterday, a team that can move the ball in the air, has trouble establishing a consistent run, but they do pass the ball with success. 29th in the country, 290 pass yards per game. 49th in the country, 431 yards per game. 31st in the country with 24 first downs per game, but 72nd in the country scoring an average of 28.6. So, these things don't compute, and so much of it goes to inefficiency in the red zone, where the Hawks have scored just 9 touchdowns on 20 trips inside the 20. And I'll tell you another thing why this could end up being a game that stays in the 20s, and potentially why the Hogs might have trouble scoring. Kentucky has the best net punting average in the country. Now, that's going to come into play because the Hogs have struggled in the punt game, not returning the punt, but punting themselves. I know Traylon Burks is pretty good at returning them, but teams are averaging against them really not doing much at all. 49 yards per punt by the Kentucky punter. His name is Josh Alley. Oh, pardon me, he's one of the returners.
Max Duffy, I think.
Max Duffy, that's who it is. So that could end up being another issue for the Razorbacks. So looking at this defensive line, by the way. And you always have to put the idea of weight on the line as, a question mark. How much was made about what was the year that Arkansas had the heaviest offensive line? They made such a big deal out of it. And it was obvious, yes, they were the biggest and heaviest, but they might have been one of the slowest in the nation at the same time. So, take it with a grain of salt. 300 pounds, 361 pounds, 287 pounds on the defensive line. Their nose guards, Quinton Bohanna, is 361 pounds, and the backup nose guard, Marquand McCall, weighs 371. So, maybe moving those guys might be difficult, but then again, those guys moving themselves might be even tougher.
You mentioned the red zone. It doesn't just apply for Arkansas, Phil. If you look at Kentucky's as well, they're both outside of the top 110 teams in the FBS. I think Kentucky's at 114 or 116, and Arkansas's at 124. So both these teams have struggled mightily this season when it comes to converting red zone opportunities. So you mentioned the leg power of Max Duffy and how he's been just a force for the Wildcats this season. You also have to look at the punting, like you just mentioned, and then the red zone. Who wins the red zone battle this game? Because if this game is close, like a lot of people think it is, both in Arkansas media and Kentucky media, you know how incredibly fortunate and important those red zone opportunities are. So if you're Arkansas, especially on the road, when you're already giving up the advantage to the fact that you're playing a better football team, you have to convert in the red zone, Phil.
I almost feel like Arkansas might have to score a defensive touchdown. And they've done it 3 times. Kentucky does put the ball on the ground. They fumbled 10 times, lost 5 of them, and, of course, they've thrown the 5 interceptions. So Arkansas has been a team that has forced some turnovers, scored off those turnovers. They're going to need to get a short field for that team and maybe score a touchdown themselves. Ty, I know earlier today you had our friends Andy and Sean from the Fenceman come in. What's going on there?
They stopped by and did their picks for the first time. Usually Henry comes in, but Andy and Sean stopped by. Andy Money Talks Knots and Sean Brazel, they stopped by, did the picks. They really enjoyed it this morning. I'm curious, Phil, if they are better than Henry, do they continuously come back? We'll see what happens, man.
Well, that is the Fenceman, and a new fence from the Fenceman can help you get more security and get more curb appeal. Call them at 479-782-3936. The Fenceman, a division of Quantum Property Services. Stick around for Aaron Torres. We're talking with him next, right after the break.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Joe's Grilling Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grilling Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Spring is in the air. Not in the house, Dalton. Okay, AJ. Aw, snap, I told you not in the house. Red Kool-Aid all over the white carpet. Mom and Dad are gonna... It's okay, AJ. I can't believe it. We're so in trouble. I told you so.
Thank you for calling Service Master Clean. This is Tanya. How can I help you?
Tanya, it's Dalton. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. Think Service Master Clean. Visit us online at smcleanonline.com.
Got a mystery stain on the carpet and the kids insist they don't know what it is? Or you're just ready to give the house a good spring cleaning? Call Service Master Clean at 646-4087. Call today for spring specials.
Service Master Clean. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. It's okay, AJ.
Hey, Fort Smith, the Hampton Inn by Hilton was ranked in the top 10 Hampton hotels in the U.S., and their devotion to top-notch hospitality shows. With complimentary Wi-Fi, a free hot breakfast, and all of the bells and whistles you would expect, this newly renovated hotel has it all. They offer Hilton's digital key technology, meeting spaces, an indoor pool, and sports court. Hampton Inn by Hilton gives you everything you need for business or leisure travel. Give them a call at 479-452-2000 and see for yourself why the Hampton Inn is Fort Smith's best hotel.
This weekend at Kohl's, everyone gets Kohl's Cash. $10 Kohl's Cash for every $50 spent. Earn it on everything. Spend it on anything, even our biggest brands. The more you shop, the more Kohl's Cash you'll get. No limits. Plus, take an extra $10 off your $50 purchase of back-to-school items. Plus, Arkansas, pay no sales tax this Saturday and Sunday. Kohl's. 10 off 50 offer valid August 2nd through 18th with promo code BTS10. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your evening on the Avenue. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
I know we'll catch up sometime down the road, but until then, best of luck to the Hogs.
When I'm working out, I love to listen to your podcast.
Wow,
so,
thank you.
I owe you. You don't owe me because you entertain me many mornings. And then the other thing is, let's face it, you have some legendary status in this state. And some Hog fans want you to come watch a home game, so I'm going to continue to stay on you until we get you here in Northwest Arkansas and get you in Fayetteville. That's our goal this year.
That's Arkansas basketball coach Eric Musselman, who was on the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast earlier this week. I think it came out Monday. And AT, I have to tell you, I felt like he got the ultimate compliment from Muss when he said that he spends his workout by listening to your podcast, because I know he really puts a lot into those workouts, so your podcast must keep him going.
Yeah, I don't know if he was just being nice or what, but no, it was, first of all, thank you guys for the very nice, the time that you put into that intro. And it was funny. I was just telling Ty off air, I did the interview with Coach Muss last week before the event at Barnhill, and, I posted the interview on Monday. So I kind of, the world that we live in, everything is you kind of just live in the moment, especially guys like us who are doing so much this time of year. I kind of forgot that we hadn't spoken since the interview posted, so I appreciate it. I really do hope Coach Muss enjoys the show, and I think Hogs fans will enjoy Monday's Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. The interview is available on iTunes. Because we talk about a lot of stuff, and I know that you guys in Arkansas have a job to do in terms of getting him to talk about this year's team and the future of the program. But, I've known him for a little bit longer than most Arkansas fans, and we kind of talked about some stuff about his background, some non-basketball stuff. And I will say, I know he does a lot of interviews and has media availability and all that stuff, but I do think you'll see a different side of Muss if you decide to download the Aaron Torres podcast from Monday or Tuesday.
Well, I definitely did. I felt like I learned a lot about how he grew up, with his dad Bill as the coach in so many ways, and even just not the coaching that Bill did. It was the people that he brought Eric around. I mean, spending time personally with Bobby Knight, a deep friendship with Billy Martin of all people. I had Ty learn about Billy Martin a few weeks ago. Dave Winfield. I mean, the list goes on. And Musselman's the kind of guy that seems to try to pick something that he can learn out of all the sports, because he's paying attention to all of them. I felt like I really did get an insight into him.
Yeah, it's awesome, and that really means a lot, Phil, because, I was talking to you guys when I knew I was going to have him, and it really is hard. I know that he's a guy that isn't afraid to get out there and promote his program, and I know he's done a lot of media stuff, and so I thought it was really fun. And, yeah, the one thing I could tell you about Coach Muss, and it's the reason when he was at Nevada, that's where I got to know him, and I enjoy interviewing him. And, I hope he's at Arkansas the rest of his career, but whether he continues here or not, I plan on following his career wherever. And by the way, I expect him to be at Arkansas for a while, but the reason I bring it up is because he does have such a fascinating background. And to your point, Phil, his dad was a big-time coach, both at the college level, the NBA level. And I've told Muss this, is that, he's almost like a basketball Forrest Gump in that, he's touched everyone in basketball seemingly consistently over the last 30, 40, 50 years. I've had conversations with him where he'll just casually say, yeah, when I was coaching with Hubie Brown back in 87, or when I was coaching this guy in 94, and it's just his background is so interesting. And I will say, kind of on a random note, this is one of the reasons that I do love college basketball, because there's so many stories, there's so many interesting backgrounds. Muss's background is so different from, say, Buzz Williams' background, who I don't even think played college basketball, so different from Penny Hardaway, who was an NBA All-Star. I mean, it's what makes the sport great, and I understand on a national scale it doesn't have the level of interest of a college football or the NFL or the NBA, but there's just so many characters, so many interesting stories, players and coaches. And to your point, Phil, I really do think Muss is one of the more fascinating guys in this sport just because of where he's been, who he's seen, and who he's met.
Talking with Aaron Torres on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Aaron, you talk with Muss, but you don't put Arkansas in the top 25 poll of yours, man. What's up with that?
I mean, does anyone have Arkansas in the top 25 in the preseason?
No.
I mean, send me that link, except for maybe, some guy in a Arkansas polo that's showing up at SEC Media Days. I doubt there's many places that have him in the top 25. I'll say this, guys. I know that we're kind of in that middle tier time of year where football is still the focus, but basketball is coming fast. I'll tell you, the SEC is so fascinating to me, and I don't know if you guys talk any basketball at this time of year or not, but there are really no teams that are going to be a complete walkover this year. And we're going to have the same kind of situation that I think happened 2 years ago when the SEC had 8 NCAA tournament teams where, so much of the focus is on the ACC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and whatever. You look at the SEC, I mean, look, Arkansas basically brings back everybody except for Daniel Gafford. Alabama brings back a lot of pieces. Auburn's coming off the Final Four. We know Kentucky will be good. We know Florida will be good. So I just think it's going to be a great year for SEC basketball. To your point, Ty, I don't have Arkansas in my top 25, but I just think it's going to be an excellent year for SEC basketball, and I think Arkansas is going to be one of the most fascinating teams because of what I just said. They return a ton of pieces. They've obviously added a few grad transfers, and then, of course, I would expect, with all due respect to Mike Anderson, a little bit of a coaching upgrade. And so I think Arkansas is interesting. I think they're compelling. I think they're a team that's going to be battling for a tournament berth in this first year under Musselman, and I think the sky's the limit from there.
Aaron, I think this next question is perfect for you, being out west with no true connections to any of these schools. Between Texas OU, Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, I know we got the Red River rivalry this weekend down there in Dallas, Texas. There's people arguing all the time, whether it's fans or players, hey, this is the best rivalry, this is the best rivalry. From a guy that covers college football, from a guy that has really no connection to any of those schools, what's the best rivalry of those three for your money in the sport?
So you said Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, and OU, Texas?
Yeah, those three. And if there's one I'm missing that you want to throw in there, feel free to do that as well.
No. It's a great question, Ty. And I'll say this, is that, I'm a believer that there can be hatred between schools, but that a rivalry, you have to win for it to be a rivalry. And so, listen, our grandpas, Michigan, Ohio State was phenomenal, but I think we're going on like 14 out of 15 years now that Ohio State's beating Michigan. And so every year we get the pomp, we get the circumstance, we get the week worth of build-up, but it hasn't delivered for the most part. I mean, Ty, you're what, like 24, 25? Like, do you even remember Michigan being relevant in that rivalry?
Lloyd Carr 06, and they lost that year. And I think the only time they beat him was Denard Robinson. I think Fickle was the interim coach for Ohio State. It's the only time they've beaten him since then.
That's exactly right. The only time that Ohio State has lost to Michigan, and I think it's either 14 or 15 years, I can't remember the exact number, was when the year between Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer, when Ohio State had an interim head coach. And Braxton Miller, I think, was a true freshman quarterback. So the point is that I think that rivalries are very much made by the quality of the teams. Ty, I'll tell you a crazy story. When I first started watching college football, and Phil can attest to this, the best rivalry in college football was Tennessee, Florida. It sounds crazy, but both were top 5 teams every year. Both teams knew they played early in the year like they do now, And both teams knew that if you lose that first game, you're not playing for the SEC championship. You're not playing for a potential national championship. And it was a little different back then because there was no playoff or anything like that. But so I would say right now the best one feels like Auburn, Alabama, but even that one hasn't been all that competitive the last 3 or 4 years. But I will say, and I'm kind of dancing around the question, Ty, that's what makes this Oklahoma-Texas game so fascinating to me this year, because I really feel like for the first time in 6, 7, 8 years that this specific game, the two teams are pretty evenly matched. And so I'm really excited about that one. But I am a believer that sometimes in sports, you need to be competitive with each other for it to be a true rivalry. And that, again, is one of the biggest reasons why I'm so excited about the game this weekend.
Aaron, we'll let it go at that. We're up against the break. Appreciate you as always. Again, great job with Muss. And really, your podcast has always been entertaining. But for those who want an insight into the new head coach at Arkansas basketball, you definitely want to download the latest episode. AT, have a great weekend, man. We'll talk next week.
Guys, thank you. Segments are too short. We got to change this clock back. No, I'm kidding. Thank you, guys.
No kidding. All right, that's Aaron Torres from the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. Hey, Ty, I saw a commercial last night on the baseball broadcast that Coors Light is the official beer of Saturday morning.
It is.
What are you planning on doing in about I'd call it like 18 hours?
Well, you're just toying with me. Some of us, unfortunately, have to work on Saturday, so I will not be partaking, but I know Herbie is telling you all that, and he's right. When you wake up, typically on Saturday, and if I wasn't working, I'd be doing this, I'd be cracking open an ice-cold Coors Light. Unfortunately, I have to work, so I can't take advantage, but so many out there listening that don't have to work on Saturday, take advantage, turn on College Game Day at 8, crack one open whenever you want to, whenever you think it's appropriate, because it's the best beer out there, Phil.
We'll come back. We're talking about Arkansas football after the break. Stay tuned on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. You're listening to Halftime.
Every day, vegetables are ripped from the earth, sliced, diced, even something called julienne. But for just $5 a day, you can help. Get 2 Hardee's Original Roast Beef Sandwiches for just $5. Slow-cooked beef, hand-dipped in rich au jus, each prepared without harming a single vegetable. So come to Hardee's, get 2 Original Roast Beef Sandwiches, and save the veggies. Hardee's, because it tastes better. Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
At Shelter Insurance, we know landlords have to keep up with their renters, even if they're related.
Mom, Dad, what a surprise! We just dropped by to pick up your
rent check.
Oh, I'm running a little short this month.
Not everything works as smoothly as Shelter's renter's policy. It helps cover stuff in case of fire, theft, and more.
Maybe I should just move back home. Don't you love me? Oh, of course.
But now your room's Dad's man cave.
Oh, man.
Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
In Alma, call me, Randy Milam.
Or call me, Brad Howe, in Van Buren.
Supercuts of Arkansas is raising breast cancer awareness and donating to Bright Pink. Bright Pink is the only nonprofit organization that focuses on prevention and early detection of breast and ovarian cancer. Join the fight, breast cancer awareness. Donating to Bright Pink, the only nonprofit organization. Supercuts help them reach their goal of $10,000. Supercuts is conveniently located and serving its community 7 days a week. Supercuts, they're super into the movement. Supercuts, fresh, clean, sharp.
Arrow Bolt and Screw is Fort Smith's distributor of bolts, screws, fasteners, anchors, and much, much more. They have a wide variety, stainless steel inventory, and metric fasteners. This family-owned and operated business takes great pride in providing their valued clients with high-quality products at low, affordable prices. Arrow Bolt and Screw can be found at 5424 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith. That's Arrow Bolt and Screw. Call 646-0540. That's 646-0540. Arrow Bolt and Screw.
Looking to upgrade your fleet or needing professional service to your existing fleet? Carco International of Fort Smith offers the latest trucks and equipment in the industry. With over 70 years in the trucking and equipment business, they have the experience to keep you on the road. Carco International offers professional service after the sale. Carco International Parts Department supplies all makes, parts, and gives expert service. Carco International is the answer. Leave it to the pros to keep you on the road. Carco International, located at 2721 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to do something scary? Really scary? It's Magic Screams at Magic Springs,
the scare capital of Arkansas.
3 haunted attractions, including the new Carnival number 9 in 3D.
Ride wicked thrill rides in the dark.
Plus, fun for kids means family fun by day, fright by night. September 28th through November 3rd. Park opens at noon. Magic Screams at Magic Springs, the scare capital of Arkansas. Buy discount tickets online for big savings.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
That's Hammonds. Has the edge, has the 50. Hammonds down the sideline. Inside the 20. He'll take it. Touchdown, Razorbacks. Hammonds breaks it. A 64-yard TD.
Took a look earlier this morning at Rivals, and the National Recruiting Director for Rivals, Mike Farrell, put out a list of 11 coaches. He doesn't call it the hot seat, Ty. I guess Mike wants to not be so
negative.
Well, negative isn't the right way to put it, I don't think, because he names the list. It's not going to work out list. It's like a breakup list, you know. I don't think this thing's going to work out without actually saying the word breakup. I don't think he wanted to be cliche-ridden as far as the coach thing is concerned, but how cliche is it to say it's not going to work out when it comes to a breakup? So he's got 11 coaches on this list. Chad Morris is one of them. And he's got a couple other second-year coaches also on the list. Interestingly, Kevin Sumlin on the list, even though Arizona is 4-1. He's looking ahead at the tough schedule for Arizona, which includes Oregon and Washington and Washington State. And I don't think he thinks Arizona's got a shot against them. Plus, he says they're constantly outcoached. Looking at Willie Taggart, Chip Kelly, and, of course, if you're going to talk second-year coaches, it has to be Jeremy Pruitt. And then there is Chad Morris. So, I mean, he's looking at, I think, this weekend's game, meaning Mike Farrell is looking at this weekend's Arkansas-Kentucky game as the best shot to win a conference game. And if it doesn't happen, you are very likely, in Mike Farrell's mind, seeing an 0-16 SEC record for Chad Morris over 2 years. And in his mind, and I think a lot of other people's minds too, that 0-16 isn't enough for a third year. He's put him on this list if it's not going to work out.
Yeah, he's pretty blunt about what he says. Again, reiterating, he has won an SEC game. Do we see one coming if the Razorbacks don't win in Kentucky? Second straight year without a conference win in his record at SMU. Makes you wonder how he got higher in the first place. I don't think the jury's 100% out on Chad Morris yet. And again, I don't think there's going to be a point where either you and I get on this program and say this guy or this woman deserves to be fired, unless there's just something so blatant and egregious that it would be wrongful us not to say something. But I think it again goes back to the point that we made several times. There's really not a lot to this point that you can say this is why it's going to work out here. Now, if there were those cases like just barn burner games like 45-48 or stuff like that, and there was constant of that, the offense was just clicking, but the defense wouldn't get together, then I think you'd have another argument altogether. But the fact is, Phil, we go back to this so many times. I pointed out, Colorado State and Alabama 1/2 basically are the only two offensive performances in the Chad Morris era here at Arkansas that you've been, wow, that looks good. Outside of that, you really can't point to another game or half where you say, man, that's an offensive guru. That's what he did at Clemson. That's what he did at SMU. And I think that's what ticks people off the most because we still haven't seen that yet to this point.
Well, maybe you see some more creativity this Saturday against Kentucky, potentially. I was wondering how many SEC games did Brett Bielema lose before getting that shutout of LSU? I know they were 0-8 the first year.
17, so it was a 17-game losing streak. Those weren't all on him, but yes, they were 0-8 the previous year. So there's 8, and the LSU game was Ole Miss because they had 3 games down the stretch. So let's do quick math real quick. They beat LSU, beat Ole Miss, and then lost to Missouri. Those were the 3 remaining. So 8 minus 3 is 5, 13. So I think he accounted for 13 of those losses, and John L. Smith accounted for the previous 4.
And I remember the conversation at the time. The fans were pretty uncomfortable with the thought of going 0-16, even though you heard some of the same, reasonings that you're building a program back up from the ashes, that you're in the SEC West. A lot of the same things that I think you're hearing now about the program under Chad Morris. But there's got to be a moment where you feel things take a giant step forward. I mean, obviously the loss to San Jose State was, I've seen it described as a speed bump, a hiccup. That was a step backwards and a big one. As well as you played against Texas A&M, and no matter how it was spun, it's still a loss against a team that historically, in the period of the fewest wins and in Arkansas history, I think in like a 5 or 6 year period, you continue to lose to Texas A&M, mostly in very tight games. A lot of them even go to overtime, and that hasn't meant, that you're that close against Texas A&M. So that means, a win is just around the corner. It hasn't meant that. And the loss to the Aggies, no matter how well they played in certain areas, that also doesn't mean that the turnaround is just around the corner, that first win is just around the corner. The only reason why, in the case of here, it could be right around the corner is that right now the Kentucky offense stinks. They don't have a quarterback who can throw the ball with regularity. This is. I know. Early in the season, Chad Morris talked about the idea of that Ole Miss game, and he didn't necessarily say what he felt that game could mean to the program, but he sort of hinted at it. Like, we kind of know what this game means to us. And they go out and pretty much lay an egg, losing 31-17. This game here means more than that Ole Miss game should have meant. This is your chance to get that SEC win. One win in the SEC this year, sad to say, that puts to bed the talk of coaching change in a second season.
Yeah, unless they, for all intents and purposes, lost to Western Kentucky and just got blown out the rest of the way. But your argument is correct. I think when you look at Kentucky and you look at this football team and really the rest of the season, what happens to the fan base's mindset if they go out and win on Saturday night in Lexington? I think there's some people that are along the lines of Mike Farrell that truly believe that Chad Morris is never going to get it done at Arkansas. And I'm not going to slap them on the wrist or anything because we'll go back to what he's done to this point. There hasn't been much. So I'm not going to get on that, but I'm also not going to get on the side and tell you that he's going to be fired because I don't think that's correct either. What happens, though, how much percentage of the fan base, if they were to win this weekend, changes and maybe doesn't dive back on the Chad Morris bandwagon, but inches towards that way? That's a big difference. And I'm curious to see if it does anything for anyone, because you got to remember, this is not a good football team in Kentucky. It's a lower-tier SEC team, but it's still a road win. It's still going to be an emotional game for the Wildcats. How much does that change the fan base if they get a win on Saturday night? And if not, Phil, the other side of the coin is, what happens if they lose? Is everyone just off the boat that Arkansas is going to lose every single SEC game the remaining season, and possibly even Western Kentucky if they continue this stretch?
Well, I look at how Kentucky has performed at home under Mark Stoops as a warning bell for those who are expecting a victory on the road for Arkansas right now. A team that, struggling to play well at home against Mountain West teams and going on the road now to an opponent's home field. I mean, this isn't going to Arlington where it's a neutral site and you got plenty of your fans there. This is going to be a packed house. They're going to have a lot of fans there. They're celebrating Jared Lorenzen's career in life, and he was a beloved figure in that community for a long, long time. And I think they're going to do everything they can to blow it out. Plus, it's a night game, and Kentucky will they're going to break out all the stops. So the Wildcats at home under Mark Stoops, 28-20 record. I mean, that doesn't sound great, but they stink on the road. They are 10-22 on the road under Mark Stoops, or I guess games not played at home. That also counts the neutral site games and bowl games. 17-34 SEC record under Stoops. They're 9-12 in SEC games at home. So I mean, that counts all. That counts all the good teams and the bad teams. So 9-12 at home compared to 17-34 overall against the SEC. This is a team that plays their absolute best at home this year and under the 6 years under Mark Stoops.
And I'm wondering if you kind of changed up the factoring of that, like the last 2 seasons where they've had their best season in 30-plus years, and then I think they went to a bowl game the previous year. If you looked at those compared to just because he had some awful seasons when he first started out, when he was getting the thing, not necessarily rolling, but chugging along. So if you did that, yeah, it's just like other college football, college basketball, college baseball teams. You play better at home, but as you mentioned, there seems to be a vast difference. Not just, like Arkansas in basketball, there's a statistic out there in the SEC games where they're incredible at Bud Walton percentage-wise, but on the road they are horrendous. And it sounds like that Mark Stoops in Kentucky have played in kind of a similar fashion when they leave Lexington and leave, it's Kroger Field, right? Isn't that their venue, Phil? Okay.
Yeah, and I think Arkansas was markedly worse on the road last year. They've played one true road game this year, and it was a poorly played game at Ole Miss. So it doesn't leave me with a whole heap of optimism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I've totally changed my tune over the course of these last 5 days. I remember talking on Monday how I thought I had a pretty good feeling about Arkansas's chances. Here it is, a day before kickoff, and I'm not feeling so good about a chance for a win.
Well, I think you dove into the statistics a little more, and you really looked at the nitty-gritty stuff, and once you kind of you didn't just look at Kentucky, but you actually dove into what they've done this year and previous years, and you're like, a little weary about that.
I think it could be a pretty ugly game. Pretty ugly. Low scoring, mistake filled. I don't know how good of a game it'll be, but hey, I think it will be tight. It will be a close one. We're close as well to the end of the show. We got another hour to go, so stick around. Halftime continues right after this break.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
B&J Comfort Solutions provides home comfort and energy solutions to the River Valley, specializing in residential sales, service, and installation, offering only the absolute best customer service around. Call them for any of your service, maintenance, or replacement needs. B&J Comfort Solutions offer an industry-leading 5-year labor warranty on all new system installations. Veteran-owned and operated, and satisfaction is always guaranteed. Contact B&J Comfort Solutions today at 479-646-0284.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect. They're bringing state-of-the-art high-speed fiber internet plus TV and phone services right into the homes of all members. If you're an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Partly to mostly cloudy sky tonight. An overnight low will drop down upper 50s to lower 60s. We should see an isolated shower or thunderstorm on Thursday, especially across the north. Our high temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Better chance of showers and thunderstorms working their way in Thursday night. Overnight lows in the 50s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Proceed. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
It's what I always listen to.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya! D-Mac! Hold on, Matt Ryan! D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown!
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like it?
Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
And it's fun sometimes, the stuff we'll talk about during the breaks here. Ty's got a friend that's that did something that made me think maybe I saw it on the Darwin Award Twitter account. I don't know if you follow Darwin Award on Twitter, but it is it's some of the stupidest stuff that you've ever seen a person do, which includes someone jumping off of a roof onto a table. And I think that this might have been a video that I saw before, Ty. So it's nothing I would ever do. But for some reason, I'm happy that some people feel like doing this stuff because the Darwin Award Twitter account is worth opening your phone for.
I have never attempted a Bills Mafia type move. And for those who don't know what Bills Mafia is, we actually got a chance to talk to former Arkansas tight end Chris Gregg a while back about it when he came on the program. And the thing about the Buffalo Bills organization is their fans are college football type level fans. They take it very intense. And I know there's a deep respect for college football fans who are listening to the program right now. Bills are very similar type of fandom. Like they are on the same level as college football fans. And for whatever reason, and I don't know the origin of the Bills fan, the original one that did this, they like breaking tables. They will buy tables, not cardboard, but these cheap, ruddy tables and take them across the country, not just in Buffalo for those games, but across the country. Doing it in Nashville when they played the Titans last week, they'll go across the country and they'll just break the tables. They'll jump off the bed of trucks. They'll jump off roofs. They'll jump off anywhere. And so my knucklehead friend thought it was a good idea to jump off a roof and try to hit a table, missed the table, broke his back, and he was in college when he did this, so you can kind of see stupidity in college. They tend to run together a lot of times, Phil. And, I hope the video you watched is him because it's quite funny because you just hear him.
I'm looking for it. I haven't found it, so maybe it was a different account. But, for someone like me, like the stupidest thing I'll do physically is to go out and get my mail without my shoes on. That's about it. You won't find me jumping off the roof.
I just never had that desire, the potential of breaking every bone in my body. That is never. Not
I don't know. I guess some people have had that desire before, you know?
I guess, man.
Evel Knievel didn't seem to mind it. Do you know who Evel Knievel is, by the way?
I don't have to push the generational gap. That was the guy that jumped over whatever people asked him to do, right? On the motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, I think he jumped over the Grand Canyon, or tried to.
Gosh, that is scary.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is he, now I will have to ask, is he deceased? Is he still alive? I don't know.
I think he passed a few years ago. His son Robbie continued the tradition.
Okay.
Though not quite at the same level as Evil did. By the way, his name was not spelled Evil, as much as it sounded like it would have. Got some baseball to get to here. James has texted in on the Cherokee Casino hotline asking if there are any updates on Casey Martin's hand injury, the Razorback shortstop who's entering his junior year, projected to go in the top 10 in the Major League Baseball draft. I mean the top 10 picks in the first round. Had surgery to remove the hamate bone in his left hand earlier this week. I believe it was Sunday or Monday. So the only update is that he had the surgery. He's out for the remainder of fall ball. I know Arkansas baseball, I think they played tonight at Oklahoma State in their second and final exhibition. So Casey should be able to swing a bat again in December. And that means he should be, if everything goes according to plan, ready to play opening day, in about February the 14th. And, of course, there was Major League Baseball in the playoffs yesterday, as the Tampa Bay Rays fall short of completing in a monumental upset. And Houston took care of business early by putting up 4 runs on the first 17 pitches that Tyler Glasnow threw for the Tampa Bay Rays. Interestingly, Glasnow, who pitched for the Rays, and Garrett Cole were drafted the same year by Pittsburgh. Cole was the first overall pick out of UCLA. Glasnow, I think, was picked in like the 10th round or something like that, and both face off against each other with completely different teams in a winner-takes-all division series game yesterday, in which Glasnow admitted after the game that he was probably tipping his pitches. It's amazing sometimes, Ty, what the tiniest little minuscule difference in the way that a pitcher is holding his glove, or a look on his face, or just the direction of the direction that his glove is facing, can give the batter knowledge of what pitch is coming.
So go ahead.
I was going to tell you the difference in what Glasnow was doing, and I saw MLB, the website showed that when he threw his fastball, his hands were a little bit above the lettering on his Rays uniform. When he threw a curveball, his hands were about 2 inches lower than that. And the Astros picked up on this, and they smacked him around. 5 hits, 4 runs on Glasnow's first 17 pitches. And with Garrett Cole on the mound these days, that is way more than enough than you need for a win.
So if you're a pitching coach, or if you're the manager and you're noticing your guys getting stroked, and it could be the potential of him tipping pitches, showing the opponent's batters what he's got and what he's bringing to them, and they keep stroking it, do you say, hey, man, you're tipping your pitches, but I don't know what you're doing, so I don't know. How do they figure out if you're tipping, or is it just a situation?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, teams have so much video on everything that happens in a game, and it's the same in college ball.
Okay.
Really, that's on the Rays coaching staff to be able to pick up on that and let Glasnow know before the game. You got to change something about this, or just be more consistent with where you're coming into the stretch. Now, I think I brought this up before. You remember Brady Singer, the ace for the Florida Gators, going to be a major league pitcher with Kansas City at some point. Arkansas knew what he was throwing. That's why they crushed him for 3 times, and nobody else could hit him. He tipped his pitches. They knew when a fastball was coming. I would have never said that, in the broadcasts where Singer was actually pitching against Arkansas, but they had told me. They picked up on something.
I was going to say,
he was tipping his pitches. They knew what was coming, and no matter an Arkansas lineup, if they know a fastball is coming and it's right there, see you later. And that's exactly what they did. It's what happened to Glasnow yesterday.
I know you told me that story off air, but I think this is the first time that you've actually brought that up. And I'm wondering, is there a level of respect, or is it just one of those things? Well, I guess it's more one of those things where you don't want the opposing team to know that you know what's coming, right? Like you just don't. But what's the difference between trying to catch signs and then tipping pitch?
Tipping pitches is a tell. It's something that the pitcher is doing different when he throws a fastball compared to when he throws any other pitch.
Okay.
Stealing signs is exactly what that is. I mean, that's being able to tell what is coming because you stole the sign from the catcher. You'll see sometimes runners at second base will make a little bit of a motion either with the way their hands are or if they clap a certain way, if they shout something to the batter that they're able to tell what pitch is coming, and so they relay that in some sort of language to the hitter. So there is a difference. And by the way, when it comes to tipping pitches, it's understood that when you figure something out on a tell from a pitcher that it's fine. I mean, that's easy game. When it comes to stealing signs, that's the sort of thing that every once in a while will anger the team that feels that they're having their sign stolen.
So is the best equivalent I can think of, just a matter of fact, quick notice, is it kind of like counting cards where it's not illegal, but you're going to get the crap kicked out of you if someone finds out you're doing it, or get yelled at, or whatever the case may be? Is that a good comparison?
And in today's day and age where there's camera angles everywhere, Major League Baseball this year had to make a change by putting essentially like a representative of Major League Baseball in every clubhouse during the game so that they could not steal signs from the center field camera and be able to tell what pitch is coming, then relay that to the batter. That was a problem for like 3 or 4 years, and they've done something about it this year, because stealing signs is not cool. Figuring out what's coming based upon the tell from the pitcher is cool. I also have some cool numbers involving Garrett Cole. I want to get into that later on because I don't think I've ever seen a stretch of dominance like what Garrett Cole is putting together. And I give the Astros an edge over the Yankees in the division series strictly because of their starting pitching. It is that good. What else is good is our friends at Breeden RV in Van Buren having their year-end clearance sale right now with deals on new RVs plus travel trailers starting at $99.95 and fifth wheels that start under $30,000. Breeden RV, also the only dealer that gives new customers maintenance for life for free. And a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren, home of the maintenance for life. Look at BreedenRVs.com for more information. So I'll have those numbers from Garrett Cole. Plus, we're talking about quarterbacks with Arkansas and Kentucky after the break, so stick around.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
It's just amazing that when Eric Musselman is in front of the media or in front of the fans, and now we got to see what he's like, see him in that coach's role, to see how vocal he was, to see how detail-oriented he seemed to be with just the small things, like, for instance, calling a timeout because his team wasn't lined up correctly on the free throw line. I mean, that's the type of thing that you like to see if you're a Razorback basketball fan.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9, only on ESPN 95.3.
There's never been a better time to make the move to Dish with tons of free offers this weekend with World of Wireless.
Come by the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue. Call WOW now, 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or go to shopwownow.com for all the freebies this weekend. For example, free voice remote. You get a free hopper installed in your home. You get free installation in your home. You get a free 2-year price TV guarantee with Dish and WOW this weekend, along with a free $200 Visa gift card. Let's see, what else can we do? How about the NFL Red Zone? Premium sports channels free through the end of the year. Let's go with 3 months of free movie channels. I mean, it's just a ton of free stuff this weekend when you sign up for Dish.
How about for military and first responders?
Free channels, free additional channels with them, and a free movie night on Dish every month when you're a military and first responder.
All right, get all the details when you call WOW now. That's 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for World of Wireless.
You're born amazing, but sometimes life can bring the unexpected. That's why the emergency departments at Baptist Health Fort Smith and Van Buren are dedicated to providing the most trusted care to the Arkansas River Valley region. With a 30-minute or less wait time promise, backed by Baptist Health's comprehensive healthcare system, it's the rapid care you and your family can trust when it matters most. For the care that keeps you amazing, call 1-888-BAPTIST.
Experience the charm and romantic atmosphere at Wiedeker Weinkeller Restaurant and Wine Cellars in historic Wiedeker Village. Enjoy old world charm in the candlelit wine cellar that dates back to 1880. Enjoy unique Swiss and German entrees, as well as tender, delicious steaks. Taste and sample Wiedeker's award-winning wines, celebrating 52 years as an Arkansas tradition. Wiedeker Wine Cellars and Weinkeller Restaurant, open 7 days a week on Highway 186, 4 miles south off I-40 at exit 41.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine and Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Made in the USA Furniture.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Made in the USA Speed Queen Washer and Dryers.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
In-store, no credit check financing.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
0 down and 0 interest with approved credit.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Family owned and no high-pressure sales staff.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Find us on Facebook and Instagram. 405 Fort Street, Barling, Arkansas. Your Made in the USA headquarters.
Best seats in the house.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Well, the Bulldogs will kick it short, but they get it to McFadden back around the 7. He comes up to the 20, and he's off to the races. We were just talking about it. McFadden and Jones, they are mighty good, and McFadden shows it there. From the 7-yard line to the end zone, 93 yards for Darren McFadden. My goodness, they answer in a hurry.
Back here on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson. You, if you want to get with us, have your voice or your text heard. Cherokee Casino hotline is 877-377-6963. We'll get into our picks, not just for Arkansas versus Kentucky, but a few other games as well later on in this hour. I had promised some numbers from Garrett Cole, and the only reason I wanted to get into this is that it just seems to be some pretty outlandish stuff. So Cole yesterday against the Tampa Bay lineup, 8 innings, allowed 4 base runners, 2 walks, 2 hits, one of them a solo homer, and struck out 10 batters. So that was the 11th straight game that Cole struck out 10 or more. That's a major league record. He also ended a streak in the 3rd inning last night when he didn't strike out a batter, ended a streak of 73 consecutive innings with at least 1 strikeout. Maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a record since the 1961 Major League expansion, and it is so far ahead of the second-place streak during that time period that it's ridiculous. Pedro Martinez had a streak of 40 innings with a strikeout in 1999. Cole is 33 ahead of Pedro. Just stupid. In his last 24 starts, Houston is 22-2. That goes back into May. 18-0 personal record, 166 earned run average, 254 strikeouts. It's about 15.5 per 9 innings, and just seems to get better and better. It's ridiculous. You get the Nats and Cards later tonight. The way I look at it, Nats have the better lineup and starting pitching. Cardinals are a little better in the field and in the bullpen. St. Louis also won 5 of 7 against the Nats this year, including 2 of 3 weeks ago. And because St. Louis won 2 fewer games than Washington, but as the NL Central champion and Washington the wild card, St. Louis gets home field advantage. And I think that will that will prove to be a pretty important piece. All right, back into football now. So you found this list of quarterbacks, Ty, that were ranked by the PFF grades, the Pro Football Focus grades.
Mm-hmm.
And I was interested. Nick Starkel's not on the list. They've got Ben Hicks listed. Where's Starkel?
So Cam Malore, who writes for Pro Football Focus, I believe he went on Ruskin and Zach last week and actually talked about that Hicks is graded out better than Starkel in these games, which I, at first glance and just first listen, you're like, what? And then you actually kind of look at some of the stuff, and I think there's a lot of Starkel fans. There's a lot more Starkel fans than are Hicks fans. If you want to poll the Razorback fan base, that's the case. But Malore is a guy that does this for a lot of money. Like that's part of his job, is to make sure that his numbers and his rankings and stuff, right? Not to diminish what Chad Morris and Joe Craddock are doing, trying to figure out the starting quarterback, but Hicks has been better. This is what he had to say about it. He said, moving up from their preseason ranking, Hicks and the Razorbacks were a play away from upsetting Texas A&M. I don't know about a play away, as Hicks had one of the highest graded games of his career. That's a positive. With Nick Starkel exiting with an injury against the Aggies, Hicks is actually the higher graded player of the duo, so it seems the decision to start Hicks has been made for head coach Chad Morris, and a decision that the PFF grades agree with. So here's the thing. He's 78th overall in college football, 9th in the SEC, and Phil, you pointed out it's higher than one of the Kentucky guys.
Well, everybody's higher than one of the Kentucky guys if you're going by 130 quarterbacks listed, and Sawyer Smith is 130th. So I guess we're not expecting great quarterback play. You know, the thing about this PFF grade with Starkel versus Hicks, you got a larger sample size for Starkel. That San Jose State game is a weight around his neck and will be statistically for the rest of the season. 5 interceptions in that ball game. I think the fact that he's thrown 7 interceptions to the 7 touchdowns and Hicks hasn't thrown one yet, to me that's the reason why Hicks has the better grade. Starkel's got a higher completion percentage by miles, and has averaged more yards per pass. So I'll take those numbers about Ben Hicks with a grain of salt. So maybe the thought of, do you see both quarterbacks in this game? Do you see a second quarterback, even if it's not Ben Hicks? Because KJ Jefferson is going to travel. And I think we got into this a little bit yesterday about the thought of maybe a Wildcat package for Jefferson being thrown in. I mean, I think it's obvious they want to redshirt him. You got the 4 games you can use him for. And I guess I'd be a little surprised if Jefferson is traveling that they don't try a couple of things with him.
Here's an interesting conundrum that would be fun if you had the capabilities to put out Vegas odds. Who sees the field first, KJ Jefferson or Ben Hicks? Now, the only way that Ben Hicks is going to see the field is if Nick Starkel gets injured or just starts chucking picks. Period.
Yeah, and then trying to, throw his left shoulder into 360-pound nose guards again.
Yeah, or if the offense it gets 0 points in the first half, or then Chad Morris and Joe Craddock are just sick of it. But I think that is a realistic question, a realistic Vegas line that a lot of people would be interested in to see who got on the field first. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that just because KJ Jefferson is traveling that he's going to play, but there's at least the possibility now of a road appearance from him. I still think, I go back to what I said yesterday, I think the downstretch playing him against Mississippi State, Western Kentucky, he had a bye week, then LSU, Missouri, I think that would be the better way to do it. But again, I haven't gone to school for coaching. I have not been in the industry for quite some time like some of these guys had, so they have more than me. That's just my opinion, but that's an interesting thing to think about, Phil, heading into tomorrow night.
Honestly, I think you'd see Jefferson before Hicks. I think Nick Starkel's going to have a full complement of starting wide receivers. Admittedly, Jordan Jones probably won't play, but you got Trey Knox back. You got Traylon Burks healthy. Those two have been on the field together at the same time, for a game and a half? It just hasn't been very much.
Statistically, they are the best freshman wide receiver duo in the country. And there's not a lot of them because a lot of teams have guys that have been there a while. But if you look at it, they've been as good as anyone when you look across the board, Phil.
I wanted to read what PFF said about Sawyer Smith. So, 130 quarterbacks ranked. Smith is the lowest ranked quarterback on this list. They said with 3 starts under his belt, Smith has actually uncorked more turnover-worthy passes, which is a stat that PFF keeps. They call it TWPs. Can we just call them tweeps or twerps?
Mm-hmm.
We'll call them twerps. I like that one. Little twerps. He has 18 twerps through week 6, and that's the most in any season in Pro Football Focus college history. And I don't know how long they've been following it, but it's been a while. He had 11 turnover-worthy passes 3 weeks ago against Mississippi State.
11.
And that's the most in one game that PFF has ever recorded. So, I mean, this guy, Sawyer Smith, while he's thrown 5 interceptions, he probably should have more like 10 or 11. So, I mean, it's like his wide receivers have to play defense more often than they play offense.
And it's not like Arkansas has a ball hawk defense like a Florida or like an LSU, but these guys this year have shown the ability to make plays, not necessarily just forcing fumbles and picking up and going for touchdowns, but they made plays certain times in certain areas of the season. So I'm wondering if they can take advantage of that. Phil, the question is with KJ Jefferson, flipping it back to you, is how much do you throw him? Do you use him like Tim Tebow 2006?
I know.
Chris Leak? I mean,
do you want to be obvious? Be like, so here's the kid that we are afraid to let throw the ball. So anytime he's out there, it's going to be a run. You got to let him throw 1 or 2 if he's out there.
And that's what I'm saying. If you remember, go back to 2006. Y'all watch some Florida, watch some Tim Tebow and Leak. He did not throw it a lot, but every once in a while, Urban and Dan, they dial up a passing play for him. So I'm wondering, but do you do that? Like, and again, Kentucky is not the most difficult place to play in the SEC. It's not even probably top 10 in the SEC, but it's still an SEC road venue. You got Jared Lorenzen Day. It's going to be his first collegiate game if you put him on the field. I mean, unless this guy's just as cool as a cucumber, as Stuart Scott used to say, are you a little worried about playing him in an SEC road? I mean, I'm Chad Morris. I'm shaking in my boots on Saturday night if I put him in the ball game. You like
Stuart
that,
Scott say the other cool is the other side of the pillow.
And I thought it was cool as a cucumber. Did I screw that up?
The cucumber thing is too ordinary for a guy like Stuart Scott back when he was around.
Sorry, I'm a
as cool as the other side of the pillow.
I know you started snickering, so I was like, what did I do wrong?
You saw that smile. I think our viewers on our video cast saw that too.
Yeah.
By the way, the neck beard is sticking around for a minute. I'm thinking about shaving the whole thing off, but if I keep the facial hair, the neck beard's got to stay.
Got a little white growing in there up front, big guy.
A little bit. I got more than just a little bit in here, man. I'm getting old.
I'm
on the back end of 42 now.
This is the content that you can only get when you're watching our Facebook, Periscope, or Twitter, or YouTube live stream.
That's called marketing this thing. Now we got to find a way to monetize it.
Exactly. So just you tune on there. Yes, you can listen to us on the radio, which we all love, but every once in a while, flick on the live stream and you'll see Phil's beautiful face and beautiful beard, which apparently to Phil, it's not going to be there much longer.
Well, too bad you wouldn't be able to see Ty's mini fridge because he's got some ice-cold Coors Lights ready to go for the weekend.
I sent a picture to you a couple weeks ago, and it is stocked full of it, man. Now, again, I don't get to take advantage of it tomorrow, and it is the beer of Saturday morning. So for those listening, go get you a 30-rack or whatever you need of Coors Light so you can wake up, watch your college game day, and get it tomorrow. It's cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged. It is always cold. It's as cold as the Rockies. And you know it's as cold as the Rockies because the mountains are blue. And Phil, what do you always do when the mountains are blue?
Grab your boo. Go for 2.
I like the addition you added there. Coors Light, made to chill.
Cody just texted in. He says, that's a neared. I guess that's a neck beard put together. I love meshing those words together. Stick around, back right after the break.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741. 3741.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Hi, I'm Hector here from La Huertas. We like everything hot. La Huertas, we're fresh, authentic Mexican food served every day. La Huertas has 4 locations in the Fort Smith area with daily happy hours and a margarita night. Check it out. We're open 7 days a week with draft beer specials. Monday and Thursday night football. We are Fort Smith Authentic Mexican Restaurant. Yes, sir, we are. Fresh, homemade flour tortillas. La Huertas. At Rogers and Garrison location. Eat until you hurt. In Fort Smith, La Huertas.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Have you been thinking about new windows or vinyl siding for your home? Then think Superior Siding and Windows. Superior Siding and Windows has been offering low-maintenance, energy-efficient products in the River Valley for over 40 years. Superior Siding and Windows also specializes in sunrooms, patio covers for carports, and much more. Call 646-7888 for a free in-home estimate. Superior Siding and Windows, 646-7888. Superior Siding and Windows. Look for us in the Yellow Pages and like us on Facebook.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your number 1 Arkansas fan.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your evening on the Avenue. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Arkansas on the ground is Hammond. Oh. Hammond's breaking free. It's going to be a foot race. 1 man to beat. Touchdown, Arkansas. 88 yards.
Doug in Little Rock says 24-14 Kentucky. We did have a couple of picks for Arkansas to get a win, mostly leaning towards Kentucky. I think that's the area I'm leaning as well. 6:30 kick tomorrow in exactly 24 hours. Arkansas game day will begin here on your ESPN Arkansas affiliates. And I guess I need to get this in at some point before the show ends. Ty's going to be on his own for the next 3 shows, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I am heading way north, all the way north, almost as far north as you can possibly go without being in the Arctic Circle. For those who were unaware, and I have spoken about some personal things in my life at times, my kids now live in Edmonton, Alberta, so I'm going up to visit them. That'll be the first time it happens. They did shuffle up there a couple of months ago, so I miss them and haven't seen them in a while, and we're going to learn as much as we can about what it's like to be in 35-degree temperatures in the middle of October. So I hear Edmonton has the largest mall in North America. It's got an amusement park. It's got a giant water slide park, hotels and everything. It's almost like you never even need to go outside. And from what the weather looks like in Edmonton, good thing.
So my only Canada experience, I think, Phil, you watched that 70s show for a little bit.
Yes, I've seen a few of those, yes.
Okay, you remember when they tried to go across the border and get beer and Fez forgets his green card and then realizes he has it and they get locked away in a prison and stuff? That's like my only Canada experience. So do tell me more when you get back. Tell me it's more than just more alcohol in the beer. And what are their guards called? I can't think of
Mounties.
Mounties. That's it.
Yeah, they're the Mounties.
Yeah, tell me it's
the
more
Canadian
than just,
Mounted Police.
Yeah, tell me it's more than just Mounties and more alcohol in the beer.
No, I mean, I've had some Canadian experiences before. Growing up in Pittsburgh, Niagara Falls was like a 4.5, 5-hour drive. And, I mean, the Canadian drinking age, I mean, I don't know what it is now because it doesn't matter now, but back then it was 19. So, I mean, that'd be the place you would go, is to escape up there. Back at, I mean, I'll admit the cigarettes were stronger, and so you might try those. And it was a place that you could potentially get away with things that you couldn't get away with here, which, by the way, is still the case. Is very much still the case. Some of the things that they'll let you get away with up in Canada that are legal there and are not legal here. Plus, I also called some baseball games up there in Medicine Hat.
Okay.
Medicine Hat, which is also in the province of Alberta, just north of Montana. But Medicine Hat is like practically. It would be like, if Little Rock was Edmonton, Medicine Hat is in the Gulf. That's how far away these two places are. I mean, Edmonton is way up there, so it's going to take a while to get there tomorrow, and I'm just excited to see the kids, so I've missed them.
B in Clarksville texts in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He says, travel safe, Phil. Gonna miss you, but enjoy the time with your family. He says he's here for me. Salute to you, B.E. He also says
round bacon and maple syrup. Round bacon, the Canadian bacon. I love the terminology of just calling it the round stuff.
Oh, I have another Canadian experience. I kissed a Canadian girl my senior year of college. Outside of your favorite.
That's foreign love right there, man.
Outside of the Waffle House on Dixon Street. So.
Good for you. Did she drop an A on you after the kiss?
I had a buddy that I was with, and he was with another one of his girlfriends, and he said, I'm not going to list her name. She said, so-and-so hasn't kissed an American boy and thinks you're really cute. So she walked out of the Waffle House, and it happened. So that's the extent of the story,
I'm going to bring
basically.
something back for you, Ty. So we
Okay.
talk beer sometimes. I can't transport it. I don't think I can, but you should get yourself Labatt's Blue at some point if you like beer, because Labatt's Blue, two T's at the end of it. It's good stuff. That and maybe have a little poutine, which are the French fries drizzled with cheese and gravy.
Yeah, I did.
Cheese curds and gravy.
I did know that. So actually, finally, now that you bring up beer, and I know we got to get our bets all closed down on this, I finally had some of the Icy Light. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And I liked it. It tasted like...
Of course you liked it.
Because it tasted...
You like terrible beer.
It tasted like pizza to me. I don't know what it was. It just... And I was
I'm sorry. Beer should never taste like pizza.
It wasn't... I wasn't a fan of there's the light version and then the regular... I wasn't a huge fan of the regular version, but I did like the light. There's still some in my fridge, but I will probably consume that in the next week or so. So, I was a big fan.
Nice coal iron. I'm turning you into Pittsburgh.
Iron City, baby.
Any minute now.
It's tough. That's a blue collar city. I'm a part of it now. I guess I feel a part of it now, Phil.
All right, let's get to these picks. Ty holds a 17-10 advantage against me. I am wimping out a little bit, and I'm saying I'm not. No matter what, even if I come back and win, Ty, I'm not going to force you to eat chicken wings with a sauce that's going to make you go to the hospital. So we'll get something really spicy. But I just can't go with the Reaper Squeezins. I can't go with anything that if you just take a little bit on the tip of a toothpick and put it in your mouth, that it starts you crying and sweating. I can't go that direction. I don't think you can either. I don't want to do that to you. I like you too much. You mean too much to the show. But you do lead 17-10. So let's get a look at these picks. Why don't you start first?
All right. So I bet on Texas first week. They did me well. Following week against LSU, they push. So it's not like they screwed me over, but I didn't win the point. And I think
you wanted like half a point for the push. That's such bush league.
Okay, sorry. You look at the OU Texas game. It's been decided by 12 points, 3 points, 5 points, 5, 7, and 5 these last couple ball games. 5 of the last 6, 7 points or less. Yet Texas is getting 10.5 in Dallas this weekend. Herman thrives in these underdog games. I know he didn't do it for me at LSU. I think they cover, but they don't win against Oklahoma tomorrow in Dallas, Texas.
I'm going to start with Ole Miss being given 12.5 points at Missouri. And Missouri's got a great defense, but they lost their best defender and potentially their best player, linebacker Cale Garrett, to a pectoral muscle tear. He's out for the rest of the season. And I think Ole Miss can run the ball enough to at least keep up with the Tigers and cover a 12.5-point spread. So I'm going to take the Rebels to cover 12.5 points in Columbia.
I almost picked that game, but I shied away from it. Florida, LSU, Swamp, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, ESPN, getting to watch it on Tommy Kraft's 4K television
Ooh,
screen.
I hear this is like, isn't this like the first 4K broadcast ESPN is doing?
Ever in the history. So
Wow.
hopefully
I don't even know what it means.
Tommy's got some preparation to do. We got some chili dogs. I am excited for tomorrow night. Hopefully I won't fork over and just fall over after the game, but we got that. 13 points. LSU is a 13-point favorite. They're 6-1 in their last 7 games against the spread. It's in Baton Rouge. You look back to last year, Florida screwed up their season. I know this is the best defense Joe Burrow has faced. He's been spectacular this year. I think the revenge factor is huge. I'm picking LSU to win and cover. I got the Tigers tomorrow night, Phil. But you got something different.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the recent history of these of this series. It is the crossover matchup for both teams. In the last 16 years, the winner has won by more than 13 points twice. So the other 14 games have been decided by less than 13 points and usually by single digits. Florida won by 30 in 2008. LSU returned the favor in 2011 with a 30-point blowout. But the last 7 years, the total point differential between Florida and LSU is 44 points. That's a differential of an average of 6 points per game. Florida has the most interceptions in the country at 12, the 9th best pass efficiency defense, and are 5th in the nation in sacks. They're going to lose. LSU's going to win this game, but Florida covers 13 points.
All right, so we got about a minute and a half left. Michigan State, they're taking on Wisconsin. Wisconsin, 10.5-point favorites. Jonathan Taylor has been ferocious. They just absolutely beat the crap out of Michigan earlier this year. I like Wisconsin. My money ball pick, Phil, 60.5 points. That's Hawaii, Boise State. I think it goes over that. It's a late Saturday night game. Hopefully either during the postgame show or the following morning, I'll wake up to the fact that they covered and went over 61 points. That's my money ball pick this weekend.
Two struggling offenses facing off in at Neyland Stadium, Mississippi State and Tennessee. I'm going under 53 points. True freshman Brian Maurer starting at quarterback for Tennessee, and the Bulldogs starting redshirt freshman Garrett Schrader. Neither one of them really all that scary. My money ball is tonight's game on ESPN. Virginia is a road dog at Miami. 2.5 points. I'm going to take Virginia, the fighting Bronco Mendenhalls, to cover that. And actually, I think they're going to win the game. Miami's really not very good. And watch out Manny Diaz for that job. We got one more game to pick, and it's the one that you are probably most interested in. Arkansas and Kentucky. That is going to come up after the break. The line is -7 UK. And I know what I was thinking on Monday. I'm thinking totally differently today, and I wonder how Ty thinks about it. It doesn't count in our picks, so instead of a FOMO and a JOMO, we're just going with predictions. What do you think? It's your last chance to get in as well. 877-377-6963, the Cherokee Casino hotline. What do you think happens tomorrow at Kroger Field? Stick around. Our answer is coming next.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio.
Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. And Jelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CVA, Traditions, and Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley, for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors. Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect, bringing state-of-the-art fiber internet, TV, and phone services right into the homes of all their members. Get amazing fast fiber internet 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for $79.95 per month. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out where they're installing in your area, or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Football Edition. This is how you say, game tonight. Bring Bud Light. Fantasy fees are due. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way, taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us, selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
McFadden. Say goodbye. Darren McFadden, 80 yards, touchdown.
Still got some more picks coming in here from listeners. 877-377-6963. Cherokee Casino Hotline. Adam from Wynn picks Arkansas to win 28-24. A texter from the 479 says 28-27 Arkansas. Do we have any others I can find here? Yeah, it seems a lot of people expecting a pretty close game, Ty. Jeremiah in Cedarville says 31-28 Arkansas with a Connor Limpert game winner at the end. So, all right. I mean, you got to the all right. So it's a 7-point spread. I think Arkansas covers 7 points. I think it's going to be a pretty tight ball game because I just don't see either team having the ability to pull away from the other. Kentucky has played terribly their last two games. Absolutely terribly. Couldn't stop the run against Mississippi State. Couldn't stop the run against South Carolina. Offensively, they were miserable in both ball games. And you just get the sense that it's kind of the bottom of the barrel there for Kentucky, although they do get Georgia next week, so it's not like things get any easier. I see Kentucky playing a much better game than they have been playing, and I think the fact that they've got the bye week gives them a chance, just like Arkansas, to get the players healthy who need to be healthy. Now, I don't know what the situation is with their quarterback, with Sawyer Smith. I know he's dealing with 3 injuries: shoulder, ankle, and I forget the other one. But it's a guy that's really banged up. they're going to put in Lynn Bowden for some of these Wildcat formations. He's going to be difficult for Arkansas to stop. In order for the Hogs to come away with a win, I think they're going to need to do a couple of things. Tackle every chance you get. They have been terrible missing tackles this year, at the linebacker and in the secondary. I think the defense is going to need to score. I think they're going to need to either score a touchdown or set Arkansas up on a very short field. I do think that the Hogs will be able to move the ball, but I'm just not quite sure that it is a team that makes the proper decisions inside the 20, whether it's play calls or where Nick Starkel is throwing it or the proper routes being run. It just isn't a team that is in proper order inside the 20s. That gets me worried. And the fact that Kentucky, over the course of Mark Stoops' career, has been not just better at home, but so much better at home. I think that they're going to play a much better game. I don't think Arkansas wins tomorrow.
So emotions-wise, that's obviously going to be on Kentucky's side. You're playing at home. Obviously, they're honoring Jared Lorenzen, the former Kentucky quarterback, the hefty lefty that passed away just this year. So it's going to be an emotional night. And their team's going to play inspired. Stoops, I guarantee you, is going to have a big pregame speech about it. Whatever alumni, whatever former players they're going to bring in, they're going to talk about what Jared Lorenzen meant and still means to this football team. So that's a big deal. And never underestimate what emotion can do, not only to a football team, but any sports team in general. There's plenty of teams over the years that have won with less talent because they were emotionally charged up for a game. Number 2, you mentioned the red zone. The one thing that Arkansas is kind of okay with is, and I mentioned earlier, Kentucky is 115th, Phil, in red zone conversion percentage this year. Arkansas is 126. So there's not a huge gap there. But the punting you listed earlier, Max Duffy is an All-American type kid, stud, leads the SEC in punting this year. Is that right?
They lead the nation in net punting. Nation.
Yeah, this is a guy that knows what he's doing that year. And this is 2 weeks coming after playing against Braden Mann. So it's not like the punting difference hasn't hurt you 2 weeks ago and now traveling to Lexington. So I almost said Reed Bauer. For Sam Loy, he's got to have one of his best games because you think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it's going to be an ugly game. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll be a 6-3 matchup, but you can't be, as a punter, the sole deterrent from keeping your football team in the game. You can't have a 30-yard punt when you're backed up the end zone or kick it in the end zone when you're trying to pin a guy deep. Loy's got to be pretty good in this ball game. Phil, number 3 is the trench play. How important is it for Arkansas to play in the trenches in both offensively and defensively? They played pretty well in the trenches against A&M. The defense, had 4 or 5 sacks in that football game? They played well enough to win on that side of the football trench play-wise. And then on offense, there were holes enough for Rakeem Boyd. There was time enough for Ben Hicks and a little bit for Ben Starkel. So the trenches play was there. Now you're not just playing in a neutral site. You're going to an away venue, an emotionally charged away football team. Can you handle their emotion? Can you punt the ball well? And can you just not necessarily dominate the trenches, but stand up to the opposition in the trenches? Because if you get blown off from the snap, you're screwed in this football game. You're done, and you have no chance to win.
We'll bring up some of the things that happened in the Texas A&M game. You were able to establish a run. You were able to defensively get into the backfield, create some havoc back there. And I know this was a topic that we weren't able to get to through the week, Ty, but I know historically, over the course of this losing streak to Texas A&M, it hasn't been indicative of the way Arkansas will play the rest of the season.
Correct.
It's more indicative of that these two programs, for some reason, always play a tight game. So I don't know if we can look to what happened 2 weeks ago in Arlington and say, well, the strengths from that game are going to carry over to this game. I know there's no doubt A&M is a better team than Kentucky, and probably by far. But for some reason, Arkansas just is able to hang with the Aggies for reasons, throughout these last few years.
Unbeknownst
I don't
to
know.
us. Yeah.
Nobody really knows why. So I don't know if you can take that performance into this next performance. And look, the home advantage for Kentucky can't be overstated. And I think I get it. I sometimes think the idea of emotion from the fans and a night game at home, and those things get overstated. But I think in the case of Kentucky here, I mean, this is their first home conference game since the Florida game. And I remember reading about and watching a little bit of that game too, that the atmosphere for that game was nuts, was crazy. And a lot of it has to do with the history of Florida versus Kentucky, and, trying to get that second win in as many years against a team you'd lost to 30 times. But it seems that Kentucky, and I know, basketball season's a month away. They've got their blue-white game tonight. So they're starting to focus on basketball, but it's after the 10-win season, after a bowl win against Penn State last year, Kentucky fans now expect more from a reigning SEC Coach of the Year, and I think they're gonna have a pretty tough atmosphere to fight through at Kroger Field tomorrow. And I just don't know if Arkansas right now is a team that is ready to go on the road, even against a below-average SEC team, and put together what you need, which really, I mean, could you honestly say that Arkansas can win a game this year in the SEC without playing a full 4 quarters of good football? And I'm not talking about, playing well for 3 quarters but laying an egg in the first quarter or having a rough fourth quarter, because that's the kind of thing for Arkansas that will get them a loss. On the road, 4 good 4 quarters after a bye week, I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
Well, they're not mentally there, and one of the things about great football teams is they're there physically, they're coachable, and they are mentally there throughout the game. Even if you're down, even if you're up, they know that they either have to stand. I'm not going to use the stamp on the throat. They have to finish off the opponent.
The hoof on the throat.
Yeah. Or you do whatever you can. You're never out of the game. Arkansas has not had either of those the last couple of years, not just under Brett Bielema, but under Chad Morris. So I'll pose this question to you in this scenario to you. Heading into the fourth quarter tomorrow night, would you rather Arkansas be down by a field goal or up by a field goal? Would you rather them, or maybe a touchdown if you want to change the numbers up a little bit, would you rather them have to try and hold on to a lead or be that close where it's still in reach? Which would you be more confident in them win the football game in? Because I don't know. That's a juggling point for me.
It'd be difficult to figure out, and I guess I think I'd be more comfortable with them trailing by 3. I think they'll be able to move the ball, again, getting inside the 20, but the ability to score is a whole other thing. And the deficiencies that Arkansas has had defensively, with pass coverage and tackling in the secondary, I wonder how much that actually comes into play here, depending on how better heeled Sawyer Smith has become, and if they let him throw the ball. Because as we said, I mean, he is the lowest rated quarterback by Pro Football Focus in all of Division I FBS football.
So, it's a good spot by you. I didn't notice that.
If the game is in his hands at the end, then Arkansas should win. That's not a quarterback that should be executing fourth quarter comebacks. Nick Starkel is the kind of quarterback who can do that.
And I think, to your point, Phil, you got to just stack the box. And I know with certain run designs, zone blitzes, whatever, you can't always blitz, but you do need to make whoever's at quarterback, whether it's Bowden, whether it's Smith, make them beat you by throwing the football. If they win the game in the final closing seconds or something happens by passing the ball, then John Chaffetz, yes, they're not going to be happy about that. None of the coaching staff will, but they'll be like, all right, we gave the defense every opportunity to try and win, stopping the run, and you gave up a lesser evil with them passing the football. But I'm just curious to see, first of all, who starts at quarterback and then who gets the majority of snaps for Kentucky, and see how that plays out tomorrow night.
All right, give me a score. What do you think?
So, Hogs Illustrated, Clay texted me last week, asked for my prediction. I'm thinking 31-24 Kentucky. That's what I sent him last week. I'm sticking to that pick. I just don't feel good about this game, kind of like you have in recent days.
24-21 Kentucky. That's what I'm going with. So I think Arkansas covers. I think that you might get a little bit over the point line, which is 53.5. But I do think Arkansas won't get that elusive first conference win under Chad Morris. I do know we'll be back on Monday, so have yourself a great weekend. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, get better.